Tony was so excited as she and her best friend Adana stepped into a bar on the island part of Lagos to celebrate Tenny's new job. Can you believe it, Ada? I'm finally starting my dream job, she said to Adana, smiling brightly. I know, right? It's about time, Tenny. You've worked so hard for this. Adana responded, laughing. The two women ordered drinks, clinking their glasses in celebration. Just as they start talking about their future plans, Adana got a call from the hospital where she worked as a nurse. One of the nurses was unwell, and Adana was asked to come in to cover the shift. After a disappointed sigh, she reluctantly agreed, apologizing to Tani. I am so sorry, Tani. I hate leaving you like this, but you should keep celebrating, though. You deserve it, Adana said, regret filling her voice. It's fine. We will celebrate another time, Tani said with a sigh. I promise I will make it up to you, Adana promised. With a wave, Adana rushed off, leaving Tani alone. Tani considered leaving as well, but then she decided to treat herself to one more drink and enjoy her night a little longer. Just as Tani finished her drink and was about to leave, a tall, dark, and strikingly handsome man approached her. His presence was magnetic, with broad shoulders, a sharp jawline, and an air of confidence around him. His dark, smoldering eyes met hers, and she found herself momentarily captivated. Mind if I join you? The stranger asked, his deep baritone voice sending a shiver down her spine and sparking a strange feeling within her. Tenny's heart raced as she looked up, his deep voice still vibrating within her. Unable to trust her own voice, she simply nodded. As he settled into the seat beside her, she caught a whiff of the subtle scent of his expensive cologne, and before she realized it, she was inhaling deeply. My name is Dele, he said as he extended his hand out to Tenny. Tenny, she managed to reply, her voice sounding breathless as she took his hand. What is wrong with me? She wondered within her. Why is this stranger having so much effect on me? She wondered. Nice name for a beautiful woman, he said with a warm, charming smile tugging at the corners of his lip. So, Tiny, what is a stunning woman like you doing drinking alone on a Friday night? With a sigh, Tiny went on and explained how she had recently landed a new job and how her celebration was cut short because her friend had to leave. Congratulations on the new role. How about we celebrate together? Daly suggested. Let's have another drink. Everything inside Tenny screamed to say no and head back home. There was something about Daly that unnerved her, but yet she found herself nodding. I think I would like that, she replied against her better judgment. Daly ordered a bottle of champagne for them and they toasted to new beginnings. As the bubble tickled her senses, Tenny let herself relax, enjoying Daly's company more than she had expected. One drink led to another, and the night slipped into a haze of laughter, playful banter, and a magnetic chemistry between them. Each time Tenny's inner voice urged her to call it a night, Tenny brushed it off, telling herself she would leave after one more drink. Eventually, one thing led to another, and Tenny found herself in Daly's hotel room that night. The passion between them was electric, and Tenny had one of the best nights of her life. For once in her life, she threw caution to the wind, savoring every moment. She knew it was out of character and risky for her, but for the first time in years, she let herself feel. She told herself it would just be one night. Tonight, she was going to be just Tenny, free, bold, and unrestrained. By morning, with Dele still sleeping, Tenny slipped out of the hotel room quietly, not wanting to face the awkwardness of a morning after goodbye. When Dele woke up and found out Tenny was gone, he was disappointed. He really liked her, and she felt different. and a part of him wished that he would see her again. Monday came and Tenny arrived at Water Hills for her first day of work. She was excited and a little nervous, eager to make a good first impression on her boss. All through the weekend, she couldn't stop thinking about Dilly. It was her first one night stand, something she had never thought she would do, but strangely, she didn't regret it. Taking a deep breath as she walked through the revolving doors, she decided to focus on a new job and leave that night behind her. She was welcomed by a young receptionist with a warm smile who gave her the direction to the CEO's office. When she got to the door, she straightened her shoulders, taking a deep breath before stepping inside. But the moment her eyes landed on the man standing behind the desk, her heart stopped. No, it can't be, she muttered under her breath. Standing right there, staring right back at her, was Dilly. The same Dilly she spent the night with 2 nights ago. He looked equally shocked, and for a moment, none of them spoke. Tenny wondered if she was in the right office or not, but the plaque on the large mahogany table read Dele Adeyemi. That was her boss's name. Dele was her new boss. Dele recovered first, a slight smirk playing on his lips as he broke the silence. Well, if it wasn't the runaway girl. What a pleasant surprise. How did you find me? He asked. Tenny felt her cheeks heat up as she tried to maintain her composure. Clearing her throat, she managed to speak. Good morning, Mr. Adeyemi. I am your new assistant. The surprise in Adeyemi's eyes shifted to something more unreadable. He studied her, his gaze intense as he realized who she was. A sense of disbelief flickered across his face. So you are the new assistant? Wait a minute. So this was the job you were celebrating? Yes, sir, she replied. Tenny shifted uncomfortably, now staring at the floor, feeling exposed under his gaze. She mentally berated herself for not listening to the voice of reasoning that night. She inwardly prayed, hoping that she had not jeopardized her new job by sleeping with her boss, and made a promise to God that she would never have a one night stand ever again if she didn't lose this job. Clearing his throat, Dele stepped around his desk, arms crossed as he regarded her. I'm sorry, Tani, but I can't have you working for me, he simply said. The words hit her like a punch to the stomach, and tears immediately pooled in her eyes. Please, Mr. Adeyemi, I really need this job. If it's because of what happened the other night, I promise you it won't affect my professionalism. As a matter of fact, nothing happened. This is our first time meeting, she desperately pleaded. I really do need this job. In fact, I didn't know you were my boss. If I had known, nothing would have happened. Dele gave her a small shake of his head. I'm sorry, but I have a strict policy here. I don't get involved with my employees. It complicates things. Jenny felt a surge of regret. She thought of all the things she had planned to do with her first paycheck. As an orphan with an older brother who cared more about gambling than his own life, she desperately needed the income from this job. Her brother Kunle had borrowed large sums of money from multiple people and then vanished, leaving her to deal with his mess. Now, debt collectors showed up almost every day at her doorstep demanding their money back, with some of them even harassing her for payment. Please, sir, I need this job, she pleaded again. Dele looked at her, an unreadable expression in his eyes. He checked his watch, seeming to consider something. Have you had breakfast? He asked. Teddy was thrown off by the unexpected question. She shook her head, trying to figure out his intentions. Dele picked up his coat and gestured for her to follow him. Come with me, he said. Tenny followed Dele out of his office and into his car. They drove in silence, tension filling the space between them. Tenny felt a mixture of nerves and curiosity. She had no idea what Dele had planned, but she knew this might be her last chance to salvage her position. She made up her mind to do whatever he asked. After several minutes of driving, they arrived at a high end restaurant where the staff greeted Dele with deep respect. Then he couldn't help but notice how exclusive the setting was. The restaurant was completely empty, and it was then she realized Dele must have booked it out completely. Noticing her surprise, Dele responded, I wanted a private space. What I have to discuss with you is quite sensitive. After they took their seats, they were served an elegant breakfast spread, but Tenny was too anxious to eat. She looked at Dele expectantly, waiting for him to explain why he had brought her there. Dele leaned back in his chair, his gaze thoughtful as he watched her. As I said before, I can't work with someone I've already slept with, but I have an alternative offer for you, he said. And what is that? Tenny asked, her interest piqued. Dele paused before speaking, as though carefully weighing his words. I need a wife, at least for now, though. Would you consider a fake marriage? Tenny was shocked for a moment, and then she burst into laughter, thinking he must be joking. A what? Fake marriage? You must be joking.